So let's talk about reflexive verbs. Now, all that is meant by a reflexive verb is that the action of the verb is actually transferred back onto yourself. So this would be things like I wash myself, I dry myself, I dress myself, etc. Now, first of all, if we look at a normal verb, so for instance, the verb to wash, lavar, L-A-V-A-R. Now, this verb would be yo lavo, tú lavas, él or ella lava. Nosotros lavamos, vosotros laváis, ellos or ellas lavan. Now that would be a normal verb. So for instance, if you say yo lavo, the action would be to something else. So yo lavo el coche, I wash, and the action is to el coche, which is the car. Now, a reflexive verb wouldn't just be something like lavar, it would be lavar and on the end, se, lavarse, to wash oneself. So lavarse, to wash oneself, secarse, to dry oneself, etc. Now, with this verb, so you have lavarse. In order to conjugate this verb or say who's doing the action, first of all, we remove the se from the end of the verb. So that se at the end of the verb that was to wash oneself, we now have to say who the action is being done to. So myself, yourself, etc. Now, if you remember, we've already had a short video on reflexive pronouns, which were me, myself, te, yourself, se, himself or herself, nos, ourselves, os, yourselves, and se, themselves. So the verb would now be me followed by the normal verb. So you're actually changing the pronoun from yo to me. Me lavo, te lavas, se lava, nos lavamos, os laváis, se lavan. So the action, when you're doing it to someone else, would have the personal pronoun yo, yo lavo. But when you're doing the action to yourself, the pronoun changes from the personal pronouns yo, tú, él, ella, to the reflexive pronouns me, te, se. Now the verb itself would just be as normal, lavo, lavas, lava. Let's look at another verb. So the verb to dry oneself is secar, S-E-C-A-R. To dry oneself, secarse. Now remember, we take the se from the end of the verb and we decide who the action is being done to. Me, myself, te, yourself, se, him or herself, nos, ourselves, os, yourselves, and se, themselves. That leaves the verb secar. We take the AR from the verb and we conjugate it like a normal AR verb. Seco, secas, seca, secamos, secáis, secan. The two go together, and so we have the two tables. Me, seco, te, secas, se, seca, nos, secamos, os, secáis, se, secan. And those are the actions that you do to yourself. Now, lots of verbs can be normal verbs or can be reflexive verbs. So the normal verb is where the action is done to something else, and the reflexive verb, you're turning the action back on yourself. So the action is done to myself. So, for instance, if I cut the bread, yo corto el pan, the action is being done to the bread. But if I say, me cortó el dedo, myself, I cut the finger. So these verbs actually are conjugated in exactly the same way as any other verb. We just have to make sure that we're changing the pronoun up from the personal pronoun to always having the reflexive pronoun right there before the verb.